Welcome to another edition of Week in Review. I am your presenter, Carissa Franks. Coming up on Week in Review, PM Harris updates public on status of SIDF, new High Court expected to open as early as January 2017, St. Kitts and Nevis signs agreement for supply of CCTV equipment with Vivotech, EMS plays an important role in health care, says Minister Phipps. Minister Liebert underscores importance of renewable energy in human, economic and sustainable development of St. Kitts and Nevis, and security forces encouraged to remain proactive, especially as the Carnival and Christmas season approaches. Prime Minister and Minister of Finance, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, updated the general public on the status of the Sugar Industry Diversification Foundation, SIDF, during the sitting of Parliament on Tuesday, December 13. Dr. Harris noted that there have been a number of issues with the SIDF leading up to the 2015 elections, to which Team Unity spoke to with respect to the establishment and operations of the organization. He noted that concerns were based on a view that 1. A body set up to receive funds derived from the Citizenship by Investment program must be accountable to the people of this country through its parliament and must not be deposited into a private foundation and out of sight, with no direct accountability to the government and by extension the people of St. Kitts and Nevis, and 2. The very significant amount of funds deposited into the SIDF were being used to further projects, the viability of which has not been demonstrated, nor was the ability of those projects to diversify or grow the national economy clearly ascertainable. Prime Minister Harris said that upon taking office in February 2015, plans were put in place to address the concerns. St. Kitts and Nevis will have a second High Court chamber to accommodate a second resident judge in order to deal with the backlog of cases as early as January 2017, said Attorney General the Honorable Vincent Byron Jr. during the sitting of Parliament for the recently concluded 2017 budget. The Attorney General said that the idea of having a second court has been in the pipeline over the past year when discussions were had with Dame Janice Pereira, Chief Justice and President of the Court of Appeal of the Eastern Caribbean states.
Our second High Court chamber is now at a near completion. We would expect that come January morning, we would now have 2 High Courts working in tandem here in St. Kitts at the Sir Lee Llewellyn Moore Judicial Complex. The second court has been needed, we believe, because there has been a backlog of cases here in our court system, not just in the civil side, but more so in our criminal caseload. And so we expect to have appointed shortly a second resident judge for St. Kitts. And for the first time in our history in St. Kitts and Nevis, we will now have 3 judges in both St. Kitts and Nevis.
The Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis is one step closer to establishing its own closed-circuit television CCTV system and the signing of sales agreements for supply of CCTV equipment with Vivotech took place on Wednesday, December 14 at government headquarters. The project is one entered into by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis and the Republic of China, Taiwan, in an effort to help curb the crime situation in the Federation.
This is very important to the St. Kitts and Nevis, and my government and commit to continue to support Prime Minister and the Team Unity government for its national security policies. And the Vivotech is actually one of the top 5 leading manufacturer company of the security equipment in the world, and the number 1, the biggest manufacturer of the security equipment in Taiwan.
Minister of State with responsibility for health, Senator the Honorable Wendy Phipps, is reminding nationals of the important role of the Emergency Medical Services (EMS) staff. The EMS in St. Kitts and Nevis is currently celebrating its 17th anniversary under the theme "Emergency is our name, medical care is our game, quality service is our aim, working together to make a difference." Senator the Honorable Wendy Phipps, given an address to declare the 12-day period between December 11 and 22, 2016, which is designated to observe the 17th anniversary, noted that a historical review of institutionalized emergency medical care in the Federation would reveal that such services would have been introduced in December 1977 when St. Kitts and Nevis Fire Services began providing assistance to citizens and residents with first aid and transportation to the hospital. At that time, the most basic emergency medical services would have been provided. This was confined to the provision and transportation to take patients from the scene of a health emergency directly to the nearest medical facility in order to receive treatment. This system continued for 22 years by the fire officers who had basic first aid training, which they carried out to the best of their ability. Renewable energy continues to be the focus of the Government of National Unity as it maintains its efforts to ensure that renewable energy plays a critical role in the sustainable development and economic growth of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. In his 2017 budget address on December 9, Minister of Energy Honorable Ian Patches-Liberd said that in terms of the island's equity, the government believes that every citizen should have access to energy irrespective of his or her status within the community. He said that the ministry has just finalized a proposal for the introduction of a lifeline tariff that will address society's most vulnerable and guarantee their access to affordable energy.
The ministry is dedicated, Madam Deputy Speaker, to pioneering and demonstrating a new model of growth known as green growth. This vision, Madam Deputy Speaker, will guide and inspire the commitment of the ministry to a resilient future for St. Kitts and Nevis, where growth is envisaged in the area of renewable energy and energy efficiency to be strong and sustainable.
The minister added that it is critically important at this juncture to position the Federation to attract all the benefits and advantages that are economically important by exploring green pathways coupled with profitable projects. In the area of geothermal energy, the government has made positive strides in respect to its development in St. Kitts. The independent assessment of the geothermal source prospects on St. Kitts was completed by Geothermal Resource Group Inc., GRG, a global leader in geothermal resource exploration, development, and resource assessment. During the signing of sales agreement for supply of CCTV equipment with Vivotech on Wednesday, December 14, Prime Minister and Minister of National Security, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Harris, encouraged law enforcement bodies in St. Kitts and Nevis to remain proactive, especially as the Carnival and Christmas season approaches.
As we move into the Carnival and Christmas season, a lot more activities are going to take place. We have important events coming up, including that day. We expect that the police are already alerted, that they will do all that they can to improve their visibility and the ability to strike strategically and tactically if the situation demands.
Prime Minister Harris said that the government stands steadfast in ensuring that the security forces get the necessary resources they need to carry out their duties.
We are prepared to give, and we have given the security forces our fullest support. Over $800,000 representing the last investment we have given to the Defense Force in terms of their transportation needs. We hope that all those resources can be harmonized and effectively used so that when we talk about the resources that we are given, the public can see the results. Because ultimately, there's only one word that matters. It is the results on which we are going to be judged.
The Minister of National Security recognized the work of the security forces.
As we are talking about security at this critical period of time, I also want again to commend the security officers for their work so far. And while in the battle against the homicide rate we have not seen the kinds of results that we would have liked, we are hoping that the additional resource that will come in the new year would lead to more acceptable results. A lot is being demanded of the security forces, as indeed a lot should be demanded of the security forces. But we, as a government, we have a duty to ensure that we give them those resources that the country reasonably can provide to ensure that they can perform efficiently and effectively.
Thank you for watching Week in Review. I am Carissa Franks. Have a great weekend.